Welcome, my friends. This is Maniacal Incorporated, and you join me at the dawn of a new era. For 7 decades, Morgan NaGeira sat on the throne of Newfoundland. She spread out and established the Kingdom of Newfoundland, merged it with Labrador, took control of some territories that allowed her to reform the Fog Song faith, and then converted the whole thing to kinship feudalism. And now it falls to a new generation, Matriarch Kira, to establish the Empire of Canada. She's a bit stressed, wouldn't we all be? So, we'll start by drinking Canada dry. Kira is greeted by her steward, Chiefess Nichette, one of the very high-ranking vassals in poor health. She has a fairly strong army, if I am correct, one of the stronger armies in the kingdom. So we spend 150 prestige and lose 26 stress. And we gain a friend. Now, speaking of strong vassals, I mentioned that we're going to need to form some strong alliances. We don't have much of an army. It's a good bit down from the 8,000 that our grandmother was able to wield. And that one of our most likely alliances would be with our cousin, Cecil Fitzcecil of Maine. There's just one tiny problem, though, and that is that he's about to be deposed. I didn't notice this. So Cecil is in a fairly bad state. He's in a war with Solomon Fitz-Solomon. So this is him here. And Solomon has a concubine, Heidi. So if we take a look at Cecil, Cecil's former spouse was Heidi. So Solomon, at some stage, either during this war or beforehand, captured Cecil's wife and made her his concubine. Then again, look at those for traits. Can you blame the man? Can you blame him? So Cecil is in a fairly bad state at the moment. However, my understanding is that this is a war against the tyranny of King Cecil, so it's entirely possible that we will see him deposed and replaced with one of his younger siblings. Which means that we might still be in a position to form an alliance. So I'm actually going to let that play out for a few moments and see what's going to happen here. And there we go. There goes the neighborhood. Cecil has been deposed. His liege is now his sister, Queen Liliana. And what has he been left with? He's been left with absolutely nothing from what I can see. A lot of claims. Now, if we try to arrange a marriage, will we get an alliance with our cousin? I think this is our first cousin's daughter. So that is going to be 3,500 troops, and we could be in a position to try and convert Cecil and restore him. He is delicate, however. Bless him. We're not in a position to finance a grand wedding. We will send that proposal. And we have something vaguely resembling an alliance to the serene Matriarch Kira of Newfoundland and Labrador. You will be joined by my brother, your cousin, Cecil, in holy matrimony. Excellent. So we have something vaguely resembling an alliance. Let's see if we can actually find something for poor old Cecil to do. We could put him as our food taster alongside King Havelock of Hudsonia, who's still the cupbearer. Actually, probably because he's the king, we can't appoint him to anything, but I have put Annabelle. Is it Annabelle? As our High Alamoner. So I need to get some piety together. Because I need to try and get some money from the Holy Order, from the Fisher King. So I think I need about 250 piety, so we'll stick him in there. We'll get those numbers together. However, now that we have something vaguely resembling an alliance, we actually have a couple of other things that we need to do. One of which is to find our patron god. And I have a feeling I know who it's going to be. If we go with Jack as our patron, we get diplomacy, we get intrigue, so our stats are not great at the moment. Our stats are very not great at the moment. We are going down the diplomacy tree. It's going to give us intrigue, stress gain, popular opinion. There is always Sheila NaGeira. Fertility, plus 25. Movement speed in provinces affected by winter. Same culture, opinion. I think we'll actually just start with Jack of Ashes for that one extra diplomacy. We might go for that fertility at some stage, though. And with all that out of the way, it's finally time to bring the Duchy of Labrador back into the fold. However, we don't have our grandmother's vassalize war. We are instead going to seize the duchy because we need some land. We have no territory. We've pretty much lost everything. All we have is St. John's. So we are going to seize the duchy for ourselves. From Becky II, Becky I caused considerable difficulty for our grandmother. So we are going to end that difficulty through war. Do you think she has any idea that she's marrying her cousin? I mean, she's blind drunk. Does she have any idea that she's marrying her cousin? Maybe it's for the best. We will collect 90 quid for the wedding. And what better way to celebrate the wedding than a visit to our cousin? I think they're all just cousins at this stage. Chieftain Robert for a grand rite. Now, this is the handy thing. We have a couple of people with the witch trait in power throughout the kingdom, so hopefully we're going to see a lot more grand rites, because that is absolutely fantastic for gaining some lifestyle perks. And I think we're going to get stewardship from our cousin. There he is, our cousin, Chieftain Robert. And after visiting Robert, I was hoping to tour some of the surrounding kingdoms and visit our sister-in-law and cousin in Augusta, same person, but it's a bit too dangerous. As a result of the war, of course, our recent war against Tiramara means that heading there isn't a good idea, so we're going to wander down to Boston, OAO, and Concord, and see what's down there, get some diplomacy, and head back. So that's going to cost 49 quid, it'll be fine. It's a bit of a honeymoon for Kira and Cecil. And we're getting a bit of a pop-up that our neighbour, Queen Barbara of Hudsonia, has lost a war against our cousin, isn't everyone, High Chief Eric II. So I spotted this all right. Yeah, he went for Jefferson. Fair play to him. He's after taking it. I'm not too sure if he's in another war. Pontiac has come in defense of Becky. So do you know what? You could be bringing those forces over here and actually stopping this one. But he's been busy over in Hudsonia. Or in Jefferson, I should say. I don't think Jefferson is actually part of... It's not part of the Empire. Not part of the Empire of Canada, so whatever, he's expanding it a bit. And this is the reason why we need hefty alliances. 7,900 troops under Patriarch Helmar. They're at war with Hudsonia at the moment for a claim on a duchy. And they've actually completely engulfed our little enclave down here. So this is basically the remainder of the Empire of Canada. We need to declare war on Upper Québec at some stage and take at least a significant chunk if we are to form the Empire. So hopefully we'll either see Patriarch Helmar die and the whole thing split apart, or some internal divisions. I don't know. Okay, that's a bit crazy. What exactly is Becky and Pontiac doing? Where are they going? They have no idea. So I thought they were actually going to start heading in this direction, which would be... It would be great if there was a bridge. Or a land bridge or something here. But the fact that you have to try and take the troops across, it's costly. But they're taking them down in this direction at the moment. I don't think we'll be able to march our secondary forces down to meet them. At the Grand Rite, instead of learning stewardship from Robert, we could either gain the Herbalist trait or Seeker of Knowledge for 5 years. So Herbalism would give us 2 Intrigue and 2 Learning. But we could actually unlock an Intrigue lifestyle perk from our brother Solomon. And Kira is sadistic. We will ask our brother to instruct us in the art of scheming. God, look at those red, bleary eyes. May the little fellas watch over us until the next grand rite. She's drunk, she's sadistic. We'll go for dark insights. And we just so happen to have somebody to test those dark insights out on. Here is Malachi, who you might remember from the last episode, refused to give our grandmother a weak hook, refused to convert. He's been in the prison for 7 years. He will now accept giving a weak hook. But you know what? Let's try out our dark insights. Fair play to that woman. Blind drunk, but she somehow manages to catch a bucket of rats and strap them to a man's chest. That is some going. We didn't get any dark insights from him, but our prisoner, Malachi, has died. We've managed to siege down one of the territories. We're heading for the other one, and we're trying to send the army in against Pontiac and Becky's forces. Well, that's awkward. The King of Tiramara has been captured in a battle. Well, that's not great. Things are not going good for the King of Tiramara. He has just been released, but he is currently losing 2 wars, even though I thought one of them, the one that he just lost, was a war against being deposed. What I'm currently being a bit worried about is that Upper Québec have attacked him in search of a duchy. Damn those devils. We managed to hit Becky's army. We've captured a few people, killed a few people, and brought the war to an end. We will enforce our demands. And we have territorial continuity once again, and we've gotten some counties for ourselves. We've also seen that House Unity level has changed to impassive, so this is something that results from our adoption of kinship. We have House Unity, so we can take unifying actions and divisive actions to affect House Unity. At the moment, it is impassive. So the House Succession law is impassive succession. I'm not too sure. It was combative. So your player heir is guaranteed to receive a certain portion of your titles. The rest will be divided between your remaining children. So that's why Kira ended up with so few titles, i.e. 1 title, is because it was competitive, which means that basically everyone gains equally. Now, however, in impassive, our designated player heir will gain a larger chunk of the titles. House members may challenge their house head in order to take their place, and monthly lifestyle experience goes up 10%. So if we can get that to the next stage, Dread Decay, there's a minus to that, that would be fantastic. Monthly lifestyle experience goes down, so the lower, so that'd be 5%, oh, it's at 10% here, and it's always 5%. So if we get it up any further, would we want to keep it here in the middle? There's a lot of different things there. Unify the house causes belli. We could bring Maine into the fold, but for now, we're happy enough to keep it at impassive. And it's entirely possible that we might be getting some more land, because there is a Liberty faction about to fire, and I think it's predominantly territories over on Labrador. There's Notre Dame right next to us. Ruth, I'm actually surprised with Ruth. And I might see if we can try to befriend Ruth, because our scheme to befriend our cousin, Bernard, failed. I'm surprised with Ruth. I thought I gave her a position on the council. No. Now here is technically a possibility to get some people to favour us. Here is Munich, who I think is conspiring against us. That's Solomon's wife. Solomon, who made us into a torturer. I think she's conspiring against us as part of the Liberty faction. I don't see anybody ranking highly. I think this guy is actually part of the Liberty faction. He is indeed. So Bernard is a powerful vassal. Chieftain Masson isn't. And I know we get some benefits from having powerful vassals on the council, so I'm going to assign Bernard. If Masson wants to rebel, he's more than welcome. He is a peasant leader. We've actually given him religious rights and freedoms. So I'm surprised that he's rebelling against us. By visiting the capital of Newfoundland and Labrador, a far distant kingdom, we get 150 martial lifestyle. And also some stewardship lifestyle, because we have a natural harbour in the capital, so we've made it home. And it's in a kind of an awkward place. By coming to Grove of Fog Songs, we have a number of interactions with our head of faith. We can ask them for gold. The devil won't accept. The absolute devil. His base reluctance is 40. This is probably the lad that we should be trying to appease and make friends with, because we could do with a bit of money. We have a new member of House NaGeira, but unfortunately they are a lobster man. God damn you, Cecil. We'll have to do something about you and your crazy religion. Haley, may you grow to be strong and wise. At the moment, we're trying to befriend Ruth. It would probably have been a better idea to have gone after High Chiefess Munich. Now, I have a number of trinkets and artifacts, far too many to actually wield. So I'm going to give this pressed Mayflower to Munich. So it improves their reputation a small bit, not by much. I'm going to let this befriend scheme get to the end and then probably try and switch to Munich, but the ability, or the problem I should say, is that ultimatum will be coming in just 18 months. And actually my attempts to sway Ruth have gotten even worse. I think it's dropped to 5% now at the moment. However, that pressed flower, that's all anybody ever needed in life to feel valued and loved. Munich has left the Liberty faction. So I am now actually going to switch over to... Will we try and befriend... Go on, we'll try and befriend the Fisher King. It's going to be very hard. But who knows, we might be able to flatter him. Befriend phase length 20 days faster per scheme phase. We have another faction arrayed against us, and this is an awkward one. Hi, Chief Eric. I was going to say how could you, but I know why he's doing this, because he's not on the council, and he's not happy about it. Hi, Chief Angus. I'm disappointed in you. I'm disappointed in all of you. I gave you a pressed flower, goddamn you. And we can see there that one of our neighbours' wars have been resolved. And Upper Québec continues to push into Tiramara and actually now has a border with us. And I think we might have some territory that they want. And here we go. This is what I was worried about. That, like I said, we have some territory that Quebec wants. I thought it might be this territory here. I believe it's actually this territory here. To the cold-hearted matriarch Kira. We are at war with Upper Québec. Our allies in Maine have been called in. They have answered the call. We've managed to form an alliance with Munich, whose area is the one that Upper Québec is actually attacking us for. And that has managed to knock out that alliance. Somewhere is under siege. And there's nothing like a good war to get the passions going. Here is Angus, the leader of the last Liberty faction against us, which has fallen apart now that we've managed to convince one of our vassals to leave. And apparently, Kira is in love with him now that he is a man, a giant man. Kira will confess her love to him. And the affections have been returned. How wonderful. With the hefty alliances that we have coming down towards us, what I've decided to do is basically lightning strike Quebec's capital. So we have a significant chunk of forces arrayed around the region. It's going to take a while before we can actually eat through this. Do we have anybody who knows what siege weaponry even looks like? There's Morgan. Go on. Now, they've taken one territory and they're moving on to the next. That is our issue, is that they have less territories to knock down before they hit that number, so we might actually have to abandon our siege, even though we are shoving on nicely. We're about to siege down another one of their regions. This is absolutely shocking. I am outraged. My husband Cecil has been having an affair with my rival? How could you? I thought marriage was sacrosanct. Cecil, I am very disappointed. Kira would never do such a thing. Chiefess Juliana of Portland. So basically, the chieftain has discovered that his wife has been having an affair with our husband. Break it off, or there will be consequences. Cecil remains still and silent as I make my demand, tears trailing down his cheeks, but when he finally speaks, his words are not what I expected. I'm sorry. I cannot do it. How dare you? How dare you? If you hate me so much, if you want to see me suffer, so be it. That's entirely possible. We imprison Patriarch Cecil. Now, our major problem is we are about to hit bankruptcy, and I'm not too sure how long it's going to take us to try and take down the capital. We might have to try and storm it. We do have a slight advantage over them in troops at the moment. If we were to try and siege the capital, if we were to try and storm the capital, we would lose that advantage. Oh no, the Gilded Rat's Tail. I tried to give that away to somebody, but they wouldn't take it. Because it's a pile of junk that nobody wants. Do you know what? Because it'd be awkward if he was to die in prison. I need the alliance more than I need a husband. We will have Cecil leave the prison. We will demand his conversion, and we will get a weak hook on him. So there we go. He tells us that he had no choice. Too right, you had no choice. Our child, our daughter, had better... God damn it, child. Child, your father has given up his heresy. Come on. So Upper Quebec has actually taken the war goal. I imagine they're now heading for their capital. I think they'll have a river crossing to try and get through. I hope they're not heading for my holy order. It is rather bad timing. Fair play to them if they manage to disrupt the siege. They timed it perfectly well. They timed it perfectly well. I would be hoping that we would be able to hold this region. Our brother Solomon has been taken prisoner. Oh, the devils. They are going to be sending the army in piecemeal, though. We have 7,000 troops, bringing in 2,300. They'll be sending in 2-2, then 4, and then 2-3. So they'll be coming in piecemeal if they do indeed head for the capital. And it doesn't look like it. It looks like they're waiting. It looks like they're getting into a boat. They've come across. They've suffered already some hefty casualties. We have a potential recruit to court in the midst of this war. He wants money. We don't have money. That's the problem. We're going to run out of money in the middle of this. We have factions springing up all around the place. And there's been a reformation in Fathomless. That's great. One of our Screechers has been slain. One of our Screechers has been wounded by Cecil's ex-wife. Our husband's ex-wife has wounded our antiquarian. The big, strong Amazonian woman that he loved and that was taken from him. Damn these heathens to hell. We're suffering fairly heavy casualties. We're being raided somewhere as well. Now is not the time for diplomacy. And with any luck... There we go. That only took all day. What happens if I kill this man? Patriarch Helmar of Upper Quebec is dragged from whatever hidey hole he hid himself in. He has under his realm 3 kingdoms, each of them, if I am right, to be inherited by a different figure. What is the equal competitive succession? So they have the exact same type of succession in place that we have. Helmar, you made a terrible, terrible decision in declaring war on a drunken Kira. And just like that, the greatest power the North has known has been broken. Now is the time for diplomacy and friendly counsel. Maybe if we had some friends to tell us not to kill the king, he'd still be alive. Helmar's daughter, Frederica, has now inherited Upper Québec and his war against us. I think it's her forces that are moving in against the capital. They were thinking about it. They've turned around and walked away. If we can push for a white peace. Do you know what? No. You brought this war to me. I will bring it to you. Well, your father did, and I killed him. And there is our poor antiquarian. He was wounded in battle, died of old age. Fair play to him. So he was wounded by Cecil's former wife. We actually had a lot of forces came in against us there. The King of Ashes wants some land? Absolutely, 100%, because I need that money. So things are not actually looking tremendously great at the moment. We suffered a lot more casualties than expected. I think we're a bit too overconfident after taking the capital. That was a risky battle. Another one of our Screechers has been wounded by Cecil's ex-wife. Quebec is returning with a hefty amount of troops. We could try and keep pushing this war. We could keep hemorrhaging units. I am actually going to see if they will accept a white peace. So there we go. They spend 50 prestige. We gain a bit of prestige. So be it. And with that glorious victory, we've managed to gain a new dynasty legacy. We're going to keep focusing down the blood route for now. Convergent blood, chance of reinforcing congenital traits, 30%. A child is growing in my womb, my husband, Patriarch Cecil, or maybe my lover, Angus, will be proud. Who knows? If the child is a giant, we'll know. If the child is delicate, we'll also know. And speaking of kingdoms splintering apart, Hudsonia, I'm not too sure who this person is. Iris the Tyrant. They're not even of the same house as Count Havelock, our cupbearer. So his wife has been deposed, and there is a new reigning power in Hudsonia. We finally managed to get that damn child of ours to convert to Fog Song. And I'm thinking about our next steps. We have a couple of major kingdoms down here that we've created. Ontario. Here is Lower Quebec, which is quite weak. The problem, however, is Upper Quebec. And Upper Quebec has an alliance with all of them. Why does she hate me? Why is it minus 100? Unlawfully executed family. Oh, yeah. I killed your dad. I've been trying desperately to befriend the Fisher King so that we could ask him for money. I'm instead going to befriend my cheating husband, Cecil. It should be easy. Just like he is. And we can see that Tiramara has lost even more territory to Penobscot, if that's how we pronounce it, to the south, and to Lower Quebec. I'd like to actually try and subjugate this entire region, but we can't. We don't have the ability to do so. Ord Ri Donal. We're going to have to declare war if we try to subjugate the kingdom. Our fame is lower than his. We could go for a holy war for the kingdom. The problem is that there is another 22 county faith which would become involved. Most likely. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to conquer the Duchy of Cape Breton to add to our Sydney holdings. And as we begin moving out the Holy Order, we have given birth to a child called Cecil with black hair. We won't get too Game of Thrones looking at hair colours on this. Cecil Fitzkira, may you grow to be strong and wise. You lobsterman, you. And of course, our daughter Haley is also a lobsterman, or of the lobsterman culture, so I'm going to send her to her cousin, Greg, who was once considered for succession. However, he would not convert from Old Fogsong due to his zealous trait, or it was very difficult. And I'll try and get him to convert the culture. And the reason I'm sending her to him is because he's a skilled technician. If she gains zealous, it wouldn't be too bad. That'd be fine if she gains zealous. And I should have pointed out that I am putting her down the martial education route. And you know what? It's entirely possible a robust martial Fogsong, if we can get her to become Newfie, could very well be the next matriarch, if not Empress of Canada. Now, the absolute disaster here is that our aunt, Jessica, is sieging down Sydney. There's some internal squabble. I can't make them stop, and I also can't raise troops there, so I tried to set a zone here, and then I clicked on it from the military screen. Our forces were raised way down here, so we have to bring them up from there and lose some money sending them out to sea. We could help Cecil along by giving him a gift. Now most certainly is the time to be frugal. We'll give him a cheap gift. He deserves it. I was hoping to surprise Patriarch Cecil with a great feast, but he thought it was part of a plot to assassinate him. Do you know what? Let him think that. We gain some dread, and the befriend scheme slows down a bit, but who cares? So, these guys have attacked this island. We might as well send the Holy Order in to deal with them. So they should both have that disembarkation penalty. The king himself is on the island. We got a few people in our dungeons from that last attack, and one of them is a right divil, because he's got herpes. Let's see if we can get some dark insights. And actually, just after we liberated this island... Well, that's kind of... Yeah, I forgot about this, actually. Just after we liberated this island, our father-in-law, our cousin, Cecil I, has died, which means that our husband and cousin has now inherited this chiefdom. So there he is. He's gone away off now. Happy out for himself. He's still a lobsterman. God, look at those. That's a woman that's been up drinking and torturing all night. That's a woman that hasn't slept in a while. If at first you don't succeed, keep torturing people. On the third attempt, we've gained some prowess. Okay, that's not too bad. And we've been told that Bernard has managed to capture Jessica. So Jessica was successfully winning. Was she successfully winning? I actually don't know. That war has come to an end. Now you're getting out of Sydney. Now I'd be able to raise the forces there. Damn you all to hell. Mad, crazy, possessed Punis, my good friend, has come to give me, not money, but prestige. Thanks, Punis. Thanks. We've been invited to another grand rite. We will attend, even though it's going to cost us 19 gold and we don't have a whole heap of money. And actually, we're going to arrive right across the bay from our sieging army. So this is the one that we brought up from Ottawa. And I've decided, you know what, we'll head for the capital. And as we are told about a plague, we're also told that we have entered the Silver Era and that we have the opportunity to gain the Maritimer Sword. Do you know what? It's fine. Oh, Lord Almighty. Will anyone be friends with this drunken, haggard insomniac? Irreconcilable differences with my husband. Our friendship was just not meant to be. And speaking of friendships not meaning to be, there's not very many people attending this grand rite. So all we can do is experiment with our cousin Robert. And we've become a herbalist, which is not too shabby. Jesus, Robert, calm down. And what terrible news! Count Havelock has beaten himself to death. Our cupbearer, the former king of Hudsonia, we'll have to find somebody to replace him. Now, our only bit of a problem is we're having a lot of people raiding us. And we also have Tiramara sieging down one of our regions, so we might actually have to bring somebody back and spend more money getting them up there to stop them. Now, rather bad timing, considering that befriend scheme has ended on our husband, but we have personal scheme success chance, 25% against family members. So we might as well use it to try and befriend our brother, Solomon, who made us into the twisted torturer that we are. It was Solomon, and not the drink. Poor Tiramara. At the last moment, they have to abandon that siege. So close, so close. We are sieging down one of their territories. We have a ton of people raiding us at the moment, being absolute devils. We've managed... Oh, we better not start torturing children. We've managed to siege down another area, and possibly, if we can defeat this army, with the king at the helm, we do not bring the war to an end. I've ransomed this small child out, but we have another absolute Benoni in the court. Not even going to look at him. We'll torture him. Now, how are we doing? We're losing a good bit of piety over this. Well, we're not. We're generating a half ton of it as well. How is our dread? It's at 59. Go on. We didn't get anything from him. Only 25 gold. Here is this. These devils. These absolute devils that were raiding us down. They've managed to successfully do so. I was sending the army out to maybe drop in on them. So instead, we'll bring them down in this direction. Tiramara is trying to raise another army. Here is our Holy Order. Someone's plotting to kill Morgan. Poor old Morgan. Patriarch Cecil has gained tuberculosis. That's all well and good. What the hell have you done with your hair? When did you do this? Going through some bit of a midlife crisis at 25. Is it growing out your hair? Don't know what to think of. I was given out about the long hair, but you know what? Maybe she likes it. So I'd be hopeful that once we siege down Inverness, that will basically bring this war to an end. We'll have a duchy. We'll have a duchy. It's better than not having a duchy. And awkwardly enough, here is one of our new vassals in this region. And here's her husband, who doesn't like us because, well, we tortured him. We also have a bit of a plague in the region. Bernard's coughs, plural. Our seneschal has died of old age. So it's taken 31 people. It's a minor plague, so I don't think we need to worry too much about it. And finally, we manage to make a friend. No, we failed another one. Is this what it feels like? Is this what it feels like to be continuously raided down by people? We've been hit, actually, by our neighbours way up in this direction. I suppose they're down over here as well. I don't know how they got there, but they're down in Ottawa. So we'll pay them a bit of a visit. We'll give them a welcome. We'll give them a welcome to the neighborhood. I'm not too sure I can get these forces raised in time. We don't actually have all that much of an advantage over them. And I don't know if they had any gold. We recovered something. Actually, probably a good chunk, enough to pay the raising of the army anyway, if nothing else. And that was actually a fantastic sum of money to put together, because we're seeing massive upheaval in Lower Quebec, Upper Quebec, and Ontario. Actually, I don't know how... Yeah, they've all been dragged into each other's wars. Lower Quebec is in a fairly bad state, but this is the important one. Upper Quebec, 4,500 troops. So what we're going to do is we're going to attack Lower Quebec, and we're going to conquer the duchy and complete this region here. Yeah, there we go. Like father, like son. Ishmael Fitzkira, with his father's delicate health penalty. May you grow to be wise, my son. Now, everyone has decided to involve themselves in this war. Princess Louise, Patriarch Ernst, and Lady Tuscobia. So there's Matriarch Frederica. I don't think she's actually entered the war yet, if I'm right. But our major problem is that Maine, our sister-in-law / no, she's not our cousin. Wait, no, she is. Our sister-in-law and cousin doesn't like us. She won't join our war. There's a -5 penalty. I'm not too pushed, but we do need to get her back on side, because other than that we have no alliance. 5,000 troops, fair play to her. And just while going down through some members of the court organizing marriages and education, here is Corinne Benoit with the Amazonian trait. Here is her parents, our court chaplain, Annabelle, with the Herculean trait, and his wife and cousin, Jean, with the Amazonian trait. So this is it, our first attempt at a breeding program, and we have some bit of success. And we receive 2 bits of bad news. Upper Quebec continues expanding and growing, just as our mother Essa has beaten herself to death. It's some way to go. And I suppose it doesn't surprise anyone, considering nobody wanted to be my friend. My spy master has come to me with grave news. While we do not know who, someone is plotting to kill me. So with the possibility that that might come off, I'm going to change our preferred successor from our half-brother and marshal, Bernard, to our brother, High Chief Solomon. He's 39. We do have a few younger members of the family with no great traits. Haley would probably be the next most likeliest, but she's 6 at the moment. And we could very well do with changing our spy master. She has 17, but she's gone to -4 in terms of opinion. High Chief Angus, our vassal and lover. So at least we have somebody a bit more forgiving of our various foibles, being sadistic and whatnot. So this woman now hates us, but there's her husband, our brother. Well, this is an absolutely crazy state of affairs. After executing her father and bringing about the collapse of his empire, Frederica of Upper Quebec has contacted us to tell us that this 6-year-old child wrote to her asking her, she's in poor health, to support a plot against us. The matriarch can't be trusted. My vassals have my support. She's -9. Frederica's already at minus 100. Go on, she can't be trusted. What's the 6-year-old gonna do? Stab me in the knees? Oh no. The plague, the pox, the variety of different afflictions hitting the region have dissipated. We're not in a position to spend any money. We're actually probably going to run out of money before this siege ends. This absolute devil still won't actually give me any money. So we're going to start running into a deficit quite shortly. Yeah, of course, we know for a fact that Cecil has lost interest in you. A, he's had the plague, and B, he refused to end his relationship with whatever lover it is that he had. Yeah, we'll ask him. How can you even say such a thing? Because they're under lovers. It says Chiefess Juliana. That's how we can say such a thing. We've little choice but to take his word. I took my foe prisoner. We've outlived it, child. Well, I mean, he was delicate. It was probably the tuberculosis that did it, but I mean, he was delicate. Rest in peace, little Ishmael. I said grow to be wise. I didn't say strong. There you go. Rest in peace. R.I.P. in peace, Ishmael. We've a council position vacated for some reason. There you go. Look at this. Hey, you can be a steward and not hate me anymore. Not hate me as much. To date, I've had my stewards jumping back and forth, trying to increase the development in various different areas. They've been getting it up slowly, but you know what? Yeah, go on. Collect some taxes for me. Get me some money. So the Patriarch has lost tuberculosis and has cut his hair. I suppose it's kind of like, yeah, you're not going to be going out getting your hair cut when you have tuberculosis. Maybe that's why he got such long hair. Oh, we're seeing some forces being put together. We're seeing, oh, God damn it, 300 troops. Am I going to have to raise the Holy Order and send it over there to you and waste money when I could be going to a grand wedding? We're not going to have the money to go to that. There's always grand weddings over in this region. This region's having a great old time with grand weddings. We're absolutely bankrupt. Because somebody, not mentioning any names, somebody won't give me money. I hope you die soon. I hope you die and somebody better comes to rule as Fisher King. And by better, I mean somebody who likes me and will give me money. The way I can go to grand weddings. My grandmother's corpse is still in the fridge because we haven't been able to bury her. I wanted to give her a big burial. And as I think about raising the Holy Order to deal with this over here, it makes me think about possibly moving the capital, because if we had the capital here, we'd be able to raise the Holy Order and move them around without suffering penalties. And by penalties, I mean that embarkation. Frederica seems to be at peace with everyone. Everywhere else is absolutely disintegrating. There's a populist rebellion. I don't know where it is. I don't really care. It's causing absolute anarchy. There's a couple of wars going on. That's mostly the problem, is populist uprisings in Ontario and Lower Quebec. That is fantastic. We've been able to put a small bit together. Not much. Angus, he's coming to pay homage. Does that mean money? Angus, give me money. We will receive High Chief Angus. I'm sure we will. Angus, god damn it, I need money. We got a small bit of money, so from ransoming out some prisoners. So I'm going to bring the Holy Order across. Naval invade our own territory. For some reason, they absolutely love going for this place. We are going to suffer that disembarkation penalty, though. That's the only problem. Which we can make disappear by changing the commander. So it was... Where's she gone to? The High Chiefess who hates me again. After I made her our steward. And I've put Beleniro in instead with the Winter Soldier. So I think that has taken out the... No, they're still defending in Taiga. They're trying to make a run for it. They're at least lifting the siege, which is handy. Potential recruit, we won't even look at them because we've no money. Oh no! We didn't realise that as we prepared to drink Canada dry, our daughter, possibly future Empress Hayley, was watching not my finest hour. And as we managed to win that battle, drive back those forces indeed, there is a look of utter shock and horror on our face as we realise that Hayley has drank all of the good whiskey that we'd hidden. And so staggering is this, so sobering, that it's literally going to knock some sense into Kira, and she will abandon the drunkard trait that her father also had, which I think killed him in the end. We'll get changed ways, so there'll be increased stress gain. We won't have an easy way of getting rid of stress, and we'll gain some stress, but we're also going to get rid of the tiny health penalty and the -2 stewardship penalty. What am I doing? What am I doing is a very good question. We are losing 6% troops to attrition per month as we try and siege down this area, which is not going very well. We're at 58% war score, but the problem is trying to find some place that isn't taken over by the populist uprising. So I'm not too sure what we can do here. Nothing in this world is certain, especially in times of war. The Newfoundlander conquest of the Duchy of Gaspesia has been no different. So we have so this is the new ruler of Lower Quebec, and what's interesting about this is they have no troops, and also they are not a member of the family that ruled Upper Quebec. So that populist rebellion has succeeded. My goal is still the same. The war rages on. Lower Quebec and a bunch of other places have entered the war anyway, though. And the reason for that is because we now have Upper Quebec, Lower Quebec. We also have Quebec and Ontario. And Ontario is ruled by... There's Upper Quebec. There's Ontario. Who's this person? They are a vassal in the clan of Quebec, of Lower Quebec. I am so confused. I have no idea who all these people are, but yeah, basically this entire region has been ripped apart even more now. There's too many Quebecs. There's no need for this many Quebecs. I knew Portland sounded familiar, so here is Somerset Fitzsolomon of Portland. He's holding a tournament. There's his wife, our husband's lover. Here, however, and I didn't notice this, is Somerset's father, Solomon, who took our husband's first wife as a concubine. Where's your brother? There he is. There's Patriarch Cecil, our husband. There's his regent. There's his current spouse. There's his former spouse. Where's she now, the poor old thing? She's High Chiefess of the Northwoods. So she found a beautiful husband for herself with a big old spooky dude on the shield, and has a son with the attractive and the fit trait. And she also wounded 2 of my knights. What a life this woman has had. Damn and blast her to hell. Anyway, to cut a long story short, we don't have enough money to go to this tournament. Are we going to be in luck? Are we going to hit one of their armies? We have indeed. We've stopped sieging this place for some reason. I don't know why. I didn't decide that. We got an update there that Zachary Lachlan was wounded. Lachlan is the house that used to rule this entire region before we went in there and caused absolute bedlam. That tiny battle, thankfully, is enough for us to, and we will, enforce our demands. I'm not delighted with this. Now, I am delighted with the fact that he's dying. And who the hell is his heir? Lynn Corrigan, who the hell are you? Our niece. So, I have no idea who you are. Anyway, what I don't like is the fact that, oh, she's going to inherit all this as well. So, Avalon is the duchy he holds, which is the duchy up here that we're a part of. But he also has land here and all over here in this new duchy. So what I'm going to do, because we're well over our domain limit, here is our cousin Robert, who's been very good to us, in fairness to him. So I'm going to grant him titles. I'm wondering if I should hold off, because it'll basically make Robert far too strong. I might have to hold off until I'll give him one of them, or it'll make Bernard far too strong. I'll give him one of them, and we'll try and get the money together to create the duchy title, and then grant that to Robert as well. Fair play to him, because we're running out of money, but our vassal, Punis, is holding a funeral. I'm not too sure who it's a funeral for, but we will attend. We're not taking any travel options, so we're going to have to take those danger chances, because we're flat broke. Well. My spymaster and lover has come to me with grave news. My husband is plotting against me. Don't you hate it when your wife's boyfriend discovers that you're plotting to kill her? Throw him in jail. That's the second time he's gone to jail. I'd still better not torture him. And the idiot can be of some use to us. One of our cousins, Morgan, says that we are showing weakness by putting him in prison. We can change House Unity by 4 and gain some opinion with Morgan by releasing him. Off you go, Cecil. You goddamn idiot. So we've arrived at the funeral of a mayor. Punis... Okay, look, Punis is possessed, so I was going to ask, is he, like, trying to show us up the fact that we haven't been able to organise a state funeral for Morgan, our grandmother? But no, he's batshit insane, so... I'll never forget this mayor. Yeah, totes. Yeah, all the good times. Oh, Jesus, are we bringing him with us? And as Kira weeps over the body of the dead mayor, do you know what? We'll take some of his hair. We'll lose some stress by taking some of his hair and gain a hair artifact, which we probably need because we're these artifacts are running out of quality very, very quickly. We lose some more stress. Fantastic. We're taking him back home with us. That's worrying. Where's his hair? There we go. What does it do? Prestige and monthly learning lifestyle experience. So we have a ton of stuff. That is, these are all fine. The Pilgrim's Guide. I think we might actually now have enough to repair that. It's 63. Plus 1 diplomacy and some piety. We do need to keep that one going. The sword, strangely enough, the prowess and the monthly piety, we'll need to get that one fixed as well for 75. Where's that damn book? We can also try and make a speech at the funeral of this guy that we've never met. 53% chance to gain some legitimacy, which I think we lost when we refused to help the area recover from the last plague. This was one of the great funerals. Up there, top 10 funerals, definitely. Would this be a top 5? I would say so. Great indeed, and I will be greater still. Tell us what he really meant to you. We'd gain some stress. Say a quiet prayer, gain some piety, lose some stress. We could benefit from both of those. In a quiet corner of the circle, I overhear High Chief Punis of Long Range chatting with a group of mourners. He somberly gestures me over. We all have fond memories of the mayor. To which I respond, ah, yes, I knew him well. We will gain 8 stress because we're content. There's a 74% chance to gain some piety. There we go. Lie my way through. How dare you? I greatly respected this mayor. We could buy a round of drinks for everyone. Probably not a good idea. Seems though we are a recovering alcoholic. We will join in the offering. We'll gain a small bit of stress, but we get 20 legitimacy. And there we go, our steward. What perfect timing. Fair play to them. They've put some money together. We've 160 quid in the bank at the moment. Somebody's giving out to us. Don't know who, don't care. And these devils are back raiding us again. I don't think we're going to be able to get the forces in time. It's a beautiful funeral. We're not going to be able to get them raised and get them in time. That's going to start costing us money instead. Damn these devils. We might as well watch what direction they go in next. Out to see what they can see. And they actually have decided to continue raiding us. That's a bad choice. I was bringing my army around, thinking we might meet them down here. I think we'll actually get the full army in a moment. They have that disembarkation penalty. As we're travelling, a freeman of... He's not a freeman of the Holy Order. His name is Freeman. We might as well let him rest. We see some familiar trees as we're walking back to St. John's, because we're not going back by... This is the second time we've gotten lost on the way back. And a secret exposed. My god, will we ever see the end of this battle? Here's High Chief Eric III. High Chief Eric III. The younger brother of Angus of Ottawa. We've discovered that somebody's having... There's poor Benoni, who we tortured. Well, his wife is having an affair. Look, I don't care. Major scandal. Now everyone knows we have recovered some loot. And we have also gotten enough diplomacy, lifestyle together to get the matriarch trait. Fertility, I don't think is going to be of much use to us anymore. We get prestige, stress loss, close family opinion, house opinion, and levy size. That's going to be the important one. So now that we have something done here, and this probably wasn't the best one to go for. We've gained a good chunk of prestige. Prestige is not a major problem. Would we want to go for stewardship? Or would we want to devote ourselves... We don't have many points over here, and we haven't met Solomon again to, we'll say, gain divine retribution, so we wouldn't lose piety from torturing people. Our big issue is money. Our big issue is money. We do need to get some money together. We have some stewardship experience built up already. I think we will take the wealth focus to at least complete one perk, and it's probably going to be golden obligations. I'm making another attempt to sway the Fisher King. It's not going very well. We've gotten a chunk of money together, which is going to help us on our next goal. So do you know what? We'll see if that 20% fertility bonus actually does anything, and we will romance our lover, High Chief Angus, because it would be handy to get that giant trait into the family. And what can we do? We can plant a letter in his chambers, write a poem, or impress him with a sparring match. I should check what he's most interested in. I don't think any of those. We will write him a love poem. He's delighted. Oh, what perfect timing. Our holdings in Tiramara have been hit with influenza. I've survived worse. Summon the physician. I don't even know who the physician is right now. It's the same woman that was physician to our grandmother, I believe. A soft approach is best. And we have some mild epidemic prevention. I'm trying to get these guys to a place where they can be stood down. There we go. What a transformative few years it has been for matriarch Kira. She has managed to hold Newfoundland and Labrador together. She's managed to expand its holdings by bringing Labrador back into the fold, and has seen off the greatest threat that we have faced so far, a giant Upper Québec, which has now been split apart with the execution of Helmar into warring factions which have completely disintegrated. We're now in a position to... I would like to have been able to, incorporate all of Tiaramata in one go. We might have been able to holy war them, but it's now been taken apart by Penobscot, which has at least 2 duchies and a county that are within the Empire of Canada. So I'm going to be going to war, I'd say, next for this one. Then we're going to go back to war with Lower Canada, who we don't have a truce with. Or Lower Quebec, we have a truce with Quebec. So we can continue ripping all of this region apart, shoving down. We'd probably want to get to the borders of Upper Quebec and begin dealing damage to them. If we leave them, they'll probably push south, take Hudsonia, take more of Twin Crowns. They're pushing down in that direction, so we need to keep them. They are still our major worry, our major enemy. We have a fairly strong army. I am in the process of standing down one of the Jolly Rovers. They're just skirmishers, and trying to replace them with the new units that we've gotten, the Armoured Footmen. And we'd probably want to try and get another unit of onagers together as well. We are having some problems sieging down areas, but money is our big problem. But at the very least, Kira is no longer spending that money on alcohol. Thank you for joining me on this episode, and I hope that you will join me on the next one, because it looks like the series will be continuing for a while yet.